Hi, Bishop Moore. This is Mr. Woelkers, Director of Mission Effectiveness. Happy Divine Mercy Sunday. It's the second Sunday after Easter, and the church celebrates a Sunday totally dedicated to divine mercy. So Divine Mercy Sunday was instituted by Pope John Paul II in the year 2000 on the same day that he canonized Saint Faustina. And he himself was both beatified and canonized on a Divine Mercy Sunday. So if Easter is the most important and holiest day of the year for Christians, and Easter is what it's all about, why do we make the very next Sunday Divine Mercy Sunday? I think that in Christianity, the most important thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing in Christianity is definitely mercy. This is what the church is teaching us by making the first Sunday after Easter totally dedicated to mercy. So Saint Faustina said that if God's love is the flower, mercy is the fruit, meaning that the flower is beautiful, but what is the purpose of a flower? To become a fruit that brings forth new life. So the defining characteristic of God's love is precisely mercy. Mercy is the main thing. Looking back to how God revealed himself to us, in the 3rd chapter of Exodus, when God spoke his name to Moses, he said, "My name is I am who I am," or Yahweh. 30 chapters later in the book of Exodus, after God has rescued his people from slavery in Egypt, brought them across the Red Sea, and taken care of them in the desert, he brings them to Mount Sinai, where he makes his greatest covenant with them. And during that covenant, God is giving the 10 Commandments to Moses, and when he's done giving Moses the law, Moses asks God, "Show me your glory." And God says, "I will tell you my name." And the name that God speaks is again Yahweh, but he says it a little differently. He doesn't just say, "I am who I am." He says, "I will have mercy on whomever I will have mercy." So when God speaks his name to Moses, he says, "My very name is mercy." God's very nature, his very name is mercy. The main thing about him is mercy. What does Jesus tell us? He says, "I am meek and humble of heart." Jesus says twice in the Gospel of Matthew, "I desire mercy, not sacrifice." Even when he's dying on the cross, Jesus says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." So we see that mercy is the point of everything. Sometimes in our lives, we start to find ourselves in relationship no longer with God himself, but with a God that we've invented, right? We start to think that God is someone where we have to earn his love by being good enough, or we think that we should do the right thing because we're afraid of being punished, or we try to do what's good because we feel ashamed. Well, fear and shame come from sin, right? That's just Adam and Eve in the garden. What do they do after their sin? They run and hide. But fear and shame have nothing to do with God, right? God says that all of the sin in the whole world is like one drop in the ocean of his mercy. So mercy is precisely how God in his love responds to our sin, our fear, our shame, our most painful wounds. The way that God responds, we call that mercy. And I think in our lives, when we expose the places in our hearts where we've been hurt the most and where we've hurt others the most, experiencing how God responds, that's the main thing. Experiencing him over and over. What is he like? What is his face like when he responds to my sin? What does his voice sound like as he responds to my pain? What is his touch like? What is he like? That is his mercy. What is the main thing that's so important for us? The reason that we're given Divine Mercy Sunday right after Easter is that the main thing in Christianity is to encounter the risen Jesus over and over, to experience his mercy. Around this time a year ago, I had just finished a long pilgrimage. I actually walked 1,000 miles on the Camino de Santiago in Spain. When I reached the end, I continued on to a place called Finisterre. Finisterre is on the northwest coast of Spain, And the Romans believed it was the end of the world. Finisterre means the end of the world. And when you reach there, you stand on a cliff by a lighthouse looking out over the beautiful ocean, and you can see it feels like forever across this ocean. And when I was there praying, I was really felt the Lord speak to me in my heart, where the world that you've created ends, that's where the ocean of my mercy begins. Where the world that you've created ends, that's where the ocean of my mercy begins. What a word for our lives. What a beautiful gesture that the church has given us, Divine Mercy Sunday, to think about where all of what I have done in my life ends. That is just one drop, but God's mercy is infinitely greater than all of that. I think that the way to really grow in holiness, the way to find happiness, the way to heaven is not by earning it. It's not by measuring up or being good enough. The way to happiness and to heaven is by allowing ourselves to be loved. It's by allowing ourselves to come to know and believe in the mercy of Jesus' heart. So I wish you all a beautiful Divine Mercy Sunday. You're all in my prayers, and may God bless you.